Question 2, you are given a polynomial, 3x cubed take away 5x squared take away 58x plus 40. We have to find the remainder when f of x is divided by x minus 3. One thing you could do to do this question is you could do long division, if you remember how to do that, which you should. You should get this and divide it by x minus 3, and you'll get the answer, but you'll also get the remainder. However, there's a much quicker way called the remainder theorem, and that says if you're dividing by some function of x, this here, if you work out a value for x that makes this bracket equal to 0, i.e. in this case 3, it's just the opposite sign really, and you substitute that in, you will get the remainder. If you're not sure why that is, go and speak to someone about it. I'm not going to do it here, but all you need to do is kind of the opposite sign. Work out what value x would have to be for this value of the bracket to be 0, which is 3. Pop that in, and whatever your answer is, that will be the remainder. So we'll do that now, and that'll be the question answered. So we've got 3 lots of x cubed, so 3 lots of 3 cubed, take away 5 lots of 3 squared, take away 58 lots of 3 plus 40. And if you type all that in on your calculator, you get negative 98. So that must be the remainder there. 2 marks done. Next part says, given that x minus 5 is a factor of this, find all the solutions of f of x equals 0. A lot of people, I think, would maybe struggle with what to do with this question, because it's not giving you a lot of hints. It's just 5 marks. You have to break down the question and use problem solving skills yourself to do it. So we want to solve, when does this equal 0? So we want to solve this. So if you just write it down, we want to find when that equals 0. It might trigger some things off of what you have to do. That there is a cubic equation, and you have to know when it's equal to 0. If it was a quadratic, you would factorize it and solve it that way. This is a cubic, and you do need to factorize it and solve it in exactly the same way. However, cubics are very, very difficult to factorize unless you can take out a common factor, which you can't here. But what it is telling you here is it's giving you a little bit of information to help you factorize this. It's saying that x minus 5 is a factor. So you can then do one of 2 things. Either you can do long division by x minus 5 and work out what the other bit is going to be. It'll be a quadratic, and then factorize that. Or the way that I prefer to do it, I think it's quicker, is to do it by inspection. So we know that x minus 5 is a factor. So in order to get a cubic from just a linear expression, we need to have a quadratic in here. That's the only way we're going to get a cubic when we multiply things out. First thing you do is work out this term here, because this bit is going to have to be your x squareds, because this here is going to make your x cubed. And there's only one number, one coefficient of x squared that can go here to allow you to get 3x cubed, and that's 3. So 3x squared times 3x squared times x is going to give you the 3x cubed. This is the only place the x cubeds come from, so that's the only possible answer. The next thing, not to work out the x bit, but you go to the numbers here, because we need 40, positive 40, and there's only one place where just the constant bit, the number bit, can come from, and it's from this number bit multiplied by this number bit here. That's the only place that 40 can come from, because everything else would get times by x. So minus 5 times something gives you positive 40. It's got to be minus 8. Minus 5 times minus 8 gives you 40. So we've got that. We've got that. The next bit is a little bit trickier, just because there's 2 different places that they could come from. Let's see what I mean. Right, this is the x's, so we're going to have something x. And now what you need to do now to work out what this is, you need to compare coefficients. Now you can either compare the x squareds or the x's. But the problem with this is there's 2 different places that either could come from. You can choose either. I'm going to choose this for the only reason that it's smaller. So negative 5x squared, and you have to look at this expression here, the 2 brackets, and work out where your x squareds would come from. And there'll be 2 places. The same as if you chose to compare the x's, there's 2 different places. Now x squareds can come from these x squareds here times in the number here. So the x squareds come from x squareds times constants, but they also come from the x's times the x's here. There's two different places. If we're going to compare the x's, then there's two places the x's could have come from. It would be the number times this x and that number times that x. But again, we're comparing the x squared. So from here, 3x squared times the minus 5, that gives us a total of minus 15x squared. So we've already got minus 15x squared. Now we need to have minus 5x squared, so that means we need a positive 10x squared from this remaining bit here. So if we need positive 10x squared, that means x times something x has to be positive 10x squared. This must be positive 10. Check again with the x squareds. 3x squared times minus 5 is minus 15x squared, and a positive 10x times an x gives us positive 10x squared. So that all together gives us minus 5x squared. You can check that by working out how many x's we would get from here, and we should get minus 58. Now remember, the x's come from this number multiplied by this amount of x, which is negative 8x. But also, remember, two places, this number, which is minus 5, multiplied by this amount of x, which is positive 10. So that's minus 50x. And altogether here we have minus 58x, which is what we've got there. So that's definitely correct. Better make some space and tidy that up a bit. But it takes a bit of practice, factorising cubics by inspection. But once you've got the hang of it, I just think it's much quicker and tidier than doing long division. We haven't finished yet though. We've got to factorise this quadratic. So we've got x minus 5, and then that quadratic will break down again. We've got 3x squared plus 10x minus 8. So it's going to be 3x and x to get the 3x squared. We need 8. So it could be 1 and 8. That won't work. That'll give us 11. 2 and 4 probably. 4, 2. Because that will give us 4x and 6x. That won't work because we want minus 8. Let's get rid of this. So what was the other one? 4 and 2, or 2 and 4. So try this way around. The 2 here and the 4 here. That will give us 2x. That'll give us 12x. So if we want 10x, we want the positive 12x. Take away 2x, which gives us 10x. And now because we have a minus times a plus, we want to get minus 8. Whew. So the solutions for all of these, who wants the solutions? X equals positive 5 from the first bracket. X equals positive 2 over 3 from here. And x equals negative 4. So there's your three solutions. Just be careful with this factorising at the end. Done.